On today's edition of Build With Me, the Prusa MK4 or Mark IV. I have done a couple other printers now, and the biggest difference between the first one I did, the Ender 3S1 and the Bamboo P1S, is the speed and the fact that I was under a deadline, so I needed to get those set up very quickly. This one I can take my time on, however, it's the fully built kit, which comes with some Haribo gummies, which I'm sure my kids will love. Oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't know it came with a printing handbook. It's full color. That is a rarity these days, but something that I like to see, especially for somebody getting started in 3D printing. Comes with a receipt here that says everything checked out. I guess is the quality control receipt. There's a USB stick, which is branded, and it looks kind of cool, and it has a QR code on it. I'm guessing that has some example prints on it maybe already. Here's a document that is, it's printed. It's not actually signed by Joseph Prusa. This is the steel sheet satin, it says. Oh, and there's two of them. Satin and TXT. Not sure what the differences are. I'm guessing satin is a smoother finish. And they sent along a hat. So I talked to Joseph at Open Source this year, and they were like, we need to get you a Prusa printer. And so I accepted, and that's why they're sending me this. It's too bad I didn't get it in time for open source for the project with the Pies dispenser, but now I have it for post-open source, and I have more time to test it out and see how it's working. There's a power cord. I don't think there's anything else up here. Let's see. There's a big foam piece that holds the gantry in place. These two pieces come out, and it looks like we have Mark IV accessories, isopropyl alcohol wipes, there's some thermal paste filament guide, and that's the filament holder, and some tools. What's in here? Looks like there's filament, PLA Galaxy Black. It looks like this just comes up like so, and we'll get this box out of the way. And I forget what the YouTube channel was, but somebody had a setup where they used that box as a environmental chamber for the printer to keep temperatures. And this is kind of fun. Now I remember, I saw somebody unbox one of these. The build plate has the first print from the printer. Let's get you off of here. There we go. And so if I pop this build plate off, it has the original Prusa little tag on it. And I should be able to just pull that off. No real problem, so good job to their quality control. But this build plate is very smooth, especially in comparison to the ones I'm used to on the Ender and the Bamboo. And it looks like it's reversible. That's kind of fun. So there's the guides, and it slaps on. Okay. Now how do I get this out? I could go to their guide, but there's got to be a simple way to pull this out. Oh, it goes down through the bottom. Okay, there we go. So here's the Mark IV. It's a nice compact printer. It's smaller than it looks in pictures, I'll say that. And it looks like it still has this little piece of filament from this print. So before we print, we'll have to take that out, I guess. Let's get the spool holder set up. Looks like these are injection molded parts. And you just spin that in. There's that. If you're wondering why the environment is different here, this is the front office area where I actually have a Positron V3.2 sitting in a box over there, tempting me daily. The only reason I'm doing this today is because I'm procrastinating on finishing the Micro Center video. Oh, these bags are zipper bags, so you could reuse the bag. They're not vacuum bags, so you can't pull all the air out of them, but the zipper's a nice touch, so you don't have to just throw out the bag. There's so much to the world of 3D printing, and I am a total noob. I've probably printed about 200 different things, but I consider myself to know almost nothing. And this is interesting. So the way that this filament holder works, you don't push the filament out and put it back in. You just kind of pop it into a little channel here. Okay, let's see. We got the spool holder. There's a filament guide add-on. If I scan the QR code, goes to... That does not go to the right thing. It searches for a serial number. Where's the QR code it's talking about? It says to do this, scan the QR code, and I scanned this one, but it just goes to SN7760-1005259, which is the number on here. Ooh, I just noticed this has an Ethernet port, so I can plug this into the LAN without having to use Wi-Fi, which I like because I don't like having my Wi-Fi signal cluttered up with a bunch of Internet of Things type devices. Let's see what other tools they gave. There's a Phillips head screwdriver, a needle nose pliers with a little bit of oil on it, which is fine, and a few tools for taking apart all the little odds and ends, the Torx bits and hex bits, and a few wrenches. So a good little assortment of tools for any of our needs. And I have this nice Husky desk that I've kind of fallen in love with these for all my project-based desks. I believe that the filament's going to come this way towards this side. Not sure if that's true or not, but we'll find out. And I'm going to go ahead and look online for how this is supposed to work. Ah, here we are. There's the filament guide accessories. I'll get to that later. This says to download the latest firmware and install it. I'm going to skip that for now and then calibrate it using the setup wizard, page 20. So the print sheet is there. I need to plug it in. There we go. Okay, power on. And I'll bring this camera over here so you can see. So it's booting up. English. Guide me through the install process. Okay. So it's doing a bunch of tests. This is a nicer, even though it's like 3D printed and you can tell it's, you know, it's not injection molded and all that. It looks very nice. And it's a nicer screen by a lot, by a country mile, compared to the Bamboo Labs P1S, which just has that old little monochrome, I don't know. It's like when you pay 800 bucks for a printer, you expect to have something nicer. This is the kind of screen that I would expect to get with a nice printer like that. Color. You can tell the UI has had some thought put into it, and it's already doing things. Ooh. So it looks like there's no axis switches like on the Ender. It just uses the motor. When the motor meets resistance, it knows it's hit the end of that side. So similar to the Bamboo Labs P1S that I'm also using, it kind of hits something and then it's like, okay, that's the end of it. So x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. Load cell test. We will need your help with this test. You will be asked to tap the nozzle. Don't worry, it's going to be cold. Thank you for reassuring me that. I hope it will be cold because otherwise it would not feel wonderful. It says it's 25 degrees Celsius. Okay, continue. Tap the nozzle on beep. I didn't tap the nozzle well, apparently. Let's try again. It passed. Okay. So wait until it beeps, then touch it. Don't try to press it right as the beep happens. But the look of this is interesting. So I like the nice solid block of, I guess that's aluminum for the main body of it, and then all the 3D printed parts that hold things together. It's neat to have a 3D printer that is printed. I know Voron does that a lot, and I haven't ever put together a Voron, but it's a neat aesthetic, and as long as the prints are good. Now it's going to do some heat testing. Holy cow, it's going to go up to 290. There's the fan on there. It's also getting the bed warmed up a bit. There's a little LED that comes on back there to let you know it's hot, so that's kind of nice. And on here, I just see that the fan is going, which means it's getting hot because you don't have the fan on when it's not hot. And I see that a little bit of filament is snaking out of the bottom now. Okay, heat bed is good. Gearbox alignment only needed if this wasn't at the factory, so I'll skip that. And filament sensor. Okay, I need to unload the filament. PLA. Okay, now it's going to let me unload this filament. And of course you can't hear me quite as well when the HVAC is on, which is annoying, but that's okay. Okay, and we got the top out. No. Okay. Insert until it detects filament. Okay, I presume I can just go in like this. Okay, it's calibrated. Happy printing. Okay, so now I need to put in filament, load filament, PLA. Okay, here comes the filament. I will zoom in on that. It's purging, it says. So there's some filament. Is color correct? Yes. Okay, return. I think we're ready to get started on the first print, and we'll plug in the USB drive and see what's on it. Hopefully there's a Benchy. If not, we'll just print whatever's on here. USB right, front and center, making it easy. Thank you very much. The Bamboo is not like that. There's no easy way to do your own thing with the Bamboo. Okay, back. What do we got here? Benchy. 26-minute Benchy. This is kind of cool. You get to see, you can see a preview of it. There's no touchscreen. It'd be cool if you could move around on it, but even without that, you can see what you're going to print. And I'm going to hit print, and we'll pull this filament out of there. And here it goes. Oh, look at that. There's little LED lighting effects. How fun is that? I guess that means this is printing, and beware. And I can see the bed heater has a little red LED, meaning the bed is getting hot. It's nice. Those are nice little quality of life things that I haven't seen on another printer. Like when the bed is hot, you should know it's hot, and that makes sense to me. So here it goes. It says it's printing. I don't know if it needs to level out first. Okay, now it's probing different points on the bed to get a bed leveling. Okay, it says it's heating. Sorry about the sound of the HVAC system. It's very loud and annoying, but that's just the way it is. Bed is up to temperature, and the hot end is up to temperature. Here it goes. Okay, let's zoom in, and we'll start getting that print. It's very quiet. This is, besides the noise of the bed moving around, this is actually quieter than the HVAC system, which is not the case for either the Ender 3S1 or the Bamboo P1S. Okay, now it's going faster. It is a little bit louder. I can hear these fans here as it's ramping up. It's still not bad though. Well, I'm gonna let it do its first print, and I'll see what the result is when it's finished. While it was finishing up the print, I had a little bit of a read through the 3D printing handbook. There's a lot of great information in there, but I did notice, I don't know if this will just pop off. There you go. I did notice that there were some issues with little Benchy here. So I'll zoom in, and you can see that a few of the layers were a little screwed up. And I didn't touch the desk at all while I was printing, but if I act like it's printing, the desk does move a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm wondering if the input shaping needs more calibration or what. Overall, it's a good print. It's just there were a few layer lines that seem to have been a little bit out of whack. You can even see, if I do this background and zoom in on the little chimney, the bottom of the chimney, it's skewed a little bit. So something is a little funny there. But I'm going to upgrade the firmware, and we'll see if we can get a better Benchy that doesn't have some of those layer issues. So current firmware version is 6.0.0 plus 14794. I think that there's a couple newer releases, but that's not that old of firmware. I asked on Twitter about this, and Zach Friedman actually responded that I could check the belt tension in all the different axes. So that's what I'll do now. Tap to enable microphone. Prusa actually has a little app for this, and you play it like a guitar string, and it should give you what you should need to do. Move to the rightmost position. Okay. Place near the belt. Enable microphone. It's saying that's just right. Okay. Move the heat bed to the rear position, placed near the belt. It says too tight. Okay, now where's the adjustment now? I'll get back to you in a second. It says to basically turn it on its side. We'll see. There should be a... I hope that that's okay to turn it on that side. There should be an adjustment somewhere on here. Right here on the belt tensioner on the bottom. So loosen that up. Okay, that's loosening. Let's see if that does it. Okay, now we've also untangled some of that. Oops. And I got a bunch of shmoo on my hand there. Allow. A little tight still. And I got to get this off my hand. That seems like it's better. I'm going to turn this back on and do another test print. While I'm at it, I also put the latest firmware on here. So if you plug that in, and I believe the process is you press reset. And it's saying that there's new firmware available. Flash. That is an easy process. I like that. Okay, we're running the latest firmware, and I actually have to go for the day. So tomorrow morning, I will try to print another Benchy, and we'll see if it's a little better with the Y-axis belt tension correct. And so we'll see. And we're back for day 2, and hopefully we can fix this issue with the layers going a little wonky. We'll see. And print. There we go. I'll see you in a little bit. There's Benchy finished with the hopefully slightly better axes, and it does look better. It's a bit straighter there. There's still a little bit of a bulge. I don't know if you can see that up here. Here's the other one for comparison. It was worse for sure. So we're getting better. But looking at the one from the Bamboo straight out of the box, that one didn't seem to have any of those issues. If you look closely, you can still see a little bit of a transition zone in there. But it didn't have those issues, and neither did the one from my Ender 3 S1. So I'm not 100% sure what that is yet, but I'm sure I'll get that dialed in, and we'll get these Benchies to be close to perfect. And then next up on this list of build with me's is a Positron. That one will be considerably more time than any of these other printers. There's the Mark IV, and then hiding out back in the studio is the Bamboo and the Ender 3 S1. And I'm gonna probably stick all the 3D printers along this wall in the front here. So we'll have retro corner, and then all the 3D printers that will be printing a lot of things to help these computers stay alive and prosper in their old age. Well, a few days later, all the printers are up here, and after one of the worst Benchy prints, I don't know if you can see that, is it gonna focus? Will it focus? There it is. After one of the worst Benchy prints I've ever seen, I knew something was wrong, and after some more Twitter debugging, so thanks to everybody who responded on Twitter to help, we found out that the set screw on the X-axis pulley over here was completely loose. It was like ready to fall out almost. I tightened that down, and the Benchy is now just as good as all the other ones. Very beautiful. Here, I'll let you see that. And I'm doing some other test prints to make sure that we're good, and it's been perfect so far. So when you get one of these in the mail and it ships all the way over from Europe, sometimes there's weird issues like that. A few people suggested I could put some Loctite on the screw. Oh, and one other thing I found out, this is a touch screen. You can actually enable it in the settings. I didn't have that enabled out of the box, but now it is, and that's kind of fun. So again, this screen is so much better than the screen on this printer. This isn't a review of that printer. I haven't done any reviews of any of these printers yet because A, I'm not a 3D printing channel. I don't know why I'm looking at the microphone. I will be doing some more 3D printing content, but the main goal for me is to have 3D printers that I can use to work on projects for special builds, like building a 10-inch rack with 3D printed parts that have custom mounts for the Pi cluster or something like that. So that's my goal with all this, and I am trying not to get addicted to the hobby of 3D printing because that is very easy to do, I'm finding. Anyway, I will see you later.